Joining me now is Denis Hughes, president of the New York State afl-cio, the state's largest labor group. Thanks for your time tonight, Mr. Hughes.
Well, thank you.
So tell me, what did you think about the debate last night?
I actually didn't see it.
Oh, you didn't see it? Well, there was a back and forth that went on between Andrew Cuomo, the candidate you've endorsed for governor, and Freedom Party candidate Charles Barron, where Cuomo basically said that he supports consolidating state agencies and local governments to make things more efficient and to cut back on some state spending. But Barron warned that consolidation means layoffs for thousands of state workers and local government workers. What is your thought on Andrew Cuomo's stance in terms of consolidating governments and agencies?
Well, I'd have to see the specifics of any plan that Andrew Cuomo has. But, you know, we're willing and able to deal with those type of issues. The labor movement is very resourceful. We know how to negotiate, and we know how to protect the needs of the people we represent. So, you know, this is business as usual. This is what we do for a living.
But no doubt, consolidation, any sort of widespread consolidation, would lead to many thousands of layoffs.
Well, if that is the case, we'll oppose them or try to figure out the best way to deal with it. But rest assured that the labor movement will have a voice in this, and we'll be able to, as I said, represent not only the people that are in the unions, but the best interests of the state, because I think the real consideration here is that the services delivered, the important services delivered by these agencies, remain intact, and you know, efficiencies are always welcome. But like I said, let's see what the plan is before we pass judgment on any of this.
Well, in general, we're hearing there will be an unprecedented mobilization effort by the afl-cio in terms of this year's elections. Why is that?
Well, because we, one, have really a need to get our people out and to reactivate the operations of the labor movement. And second, you know, a lot of these races require a lot of work, particularly the congressional races. We stand by our candidates. When we make an endorsement, it has some degree of value, a lot of value. This year we expect to put something close to 500,000 or maybe more than 500,000 flyers and mailings into our members' homes. We're doing labor walks every weekend where our members go to other members and explain to them what the issues are in these campaigns and what our considerations were when we endorsed. And then we have the Get Out the Vote operations, where we have volunteers that get our members out, and phone banks and other activities that occur on election day. So we've always had a very sophisticated election operation, and this year we're proud to say we've been able to crank it up a few notches.
Many are saying that this is your efforts, your ramped up efforts, are in response to what many are seeing as a lack of enthusiasm among Democratic voters compared to Republican voters. Where do you think that lack of enthusiasm is coming from, and do you really think that your effort will help turn that around?
Well, we're going to give it every shot we can. We're going to give it every effort, and we know that from previous elections that when we reach out to our members in a member-to-member way, or at the workplace, or through mailings, and we articulate the issues, we're able to get our members to support our candidates by 60% or better. Now, you have to realize we're dealing with our members. That is our strength. We have 2 million members in this state, actually more than 2 million members, and we're going to communicate with all of them in one way or another, either directly by the afl-cio or through their local unions. So I really don't feel comfortable talking about the apathy of the general public. I just want my membership to understand the importance of this year's election.
You mentioned that a lot of your efforts will be going toward the congressional races. Republicans are expecting to pick up a significant amount of congressional seats, and also in New York they're expecting their biggest gains to be in those congressional districts. You've backed quite a few upstate Democrats. Is this why is it so important to direct your resources toward those races. If you could talk a little bit more about that.
Well, the candidates in these races are candidates that supported the needs and interests of working men and women throughout this country, not only in their districts. They're people that are willing to stand up for their constituency. They're good candidates. They're good candidates for their community, and they have the support of the labor movement in those communities. So that's why we endorse them. I think we'll know tomorrow. We'll get a good look tomorrow at what the polls say, but I think we're doing pretty well in all of these New York races. I think they're, with the exception of maybe one or possibly two, there is it's basically a toss-up, and our efforts on Election Day will certainly contribute to who the winner is.
What sort of support are you going to be putting behind Andrew Cuomo over the next couple weeks?
We'll be doing the electioneering for Andrew. Andrew's name will be on our folders, on our flyers, and on our phone calls, and we'll be doing an effort for Andrew as we would do for any gubernatorial candidate.
Now, there's last night during the gubernatorial debate, there was a lot of talk of property tax cap, and I know that that's something that your largest union, NYSUT, the teachers union, is opposed.
Did you say the loudest? The
largest
union? The largest, okay.
Yes. The largest union, NYSUT, is opposed to a property tax cap. Because of this difference, or where you differ between you and Andrew Cuomo on the property tax cap, is that affecting at all the level of support that he is receiving from the AFL-CIO?
Well, we support, once we make an endorsement, we support the candidates all in the same way. And you know, as I said, Andrew is part of the Get Out the Vote operation. But let me just talk for a minute about the tax cap. You know, a tax cap is really an important public policy concept. If you get it wrong, it results in decreases in services, decreases in educational quality, decreases in the public safety, and a whole host of other things. So we have to figure out a way that we can get money into these localities, lower the property tax, but yet still be able to maintain certain degree of services. A lot of this has to do with the amount of money the state gives to these localities. The money that goes to these localities usually come from the progressive income tax, which today is not as progressive as it once was. So there's a lot of issues in the tax cap, and it's when we mention it and when we talk about it in shows like this, it's important that we point out that it's a very, very complicated and important concept for people that live in these localities, especially when the economy is on a downturn the way it is.
I wanted to ask you just about the intensity again of the AFL-CIO's mobilization effort this year. Does it have, how much does this have to do with what many are saying is ramped up donations and support from major companies, overseas companies, through their PACs or subsidiaries here in the United States?
Well, there's no secret that the labor movement has, you know, really puts about 1/10 of the money into political campaigns, both locally and nationally, than the corporate America, businesses generally, the Chamber of Commerce, and others. So we have to use our resource of the resource that we have that they don't have, and that is people. Men and women that are willing to volunteer on a Saturday and Sunday and after work to make sure that those candidates that support their issues and support their ability to feed their family and educate their family and live with some degree of economic security are returned to office, or in some cases put into office. So we could never match the money that corporate America spends or Chamber of Commerce or other organizations spend, but we could do our best to make sure our voice is heard.
In terms of the state Senate, that's another major battleground this year. The AFL-CIO has endorsed senators on both sides of the aisle in those races, but definitely more Democrats than Republicans. Which party do you think would represent your members and their views better if they won the majority?
You know, it's important to understand that we are not really a partisan organization. I don't know if we endorse many more Republicans than Democrats. You know, there's something like 63. I don't know how many exactly, but I wouldn't say many more.
More
But it's very
Democrats than
important
Republicans.
There is more, but I wouldn't say, you know, many more.
Okay.
We endorsed a lot of Republicans based on their record as well. And, you know, what we're interested in is a state Senate that works, a state Senate that's able to respond quickly to public policy, that is accessible, and that really understands that working men and women represented by the labor movement have a legitimate interest in public policy in the state, whether you're private sector unions or public sector unions. So when you talk to majorities, yeah, we have a good relationship with the Democrats in the state Senate. We know the Republicans as well. So, you know, we made our endorsements this year, first time in a long time, based on relationships and people's ability to stand up for us, and people's abilities, those candidates' abilities, to really understand what we need and what has to be done moving forward. So the answer to your question is, you know, we'll deal with either party at the end of this election.
You definitely do have a lot of influence on this outcome. There must be a certain group that you're pushing for.
A certain group, you mean a certain political party?
Yeah, a certain political party.
Well, we didn't make our endorsements along those lines. We made our endorsements, as I said, based on individual performance, relationships, understandings, and so forth. Years ago, we used to do, we had a strategy where we supported the Republican majority. But this year, our membership at convention, and it's important to point out that we make endorsements with, you need 2/3 of the delegate body to make an endorsement. So it's a pretty deliberate process, I would say. This year, we decided to go with people that support us, with the hope that after the election they will continue to support us in the same way.
Well, it certainly adds to making this a very interesting election cycle. Denis Hughes, thanks so much for joining us today.
It's a pleasure to be here. Thank you.